Washington.
Not one key.
And Washington.
It's gonna be an
That'll be a tough one, yeah.
It's gonna be an
Now you know that's.
Do we play USC?
Still don't want to
Yeah.
wait for
Then Jerry Rice, playing for USD. Oh, yeah. Early.
Oregon played.
Yeah.
Let's look.
I don't know, June.
Yeah.
Never adversaries.
Oh,
Yeah, but
Anything back over?
you got two divisions, they don't always play USC.
International. Independent. Yeah, sure.
Washington State, Utah.
Yeah,
USC.
Well, I think it's a home game. Yeah, she was straight in.
That's good.
No, it's not.
Finding out the other.
Oh, yeah, it's not.
My kids.
I got to see my.
It's sitting on the desk.
I left this all last time on the table. See on the third one side, so.
Thank you. You should see the back of my hand.
I've been to multiple events.
Always concerned every time I go.
So you're a firefighter?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're.
This-
I don't think that your personal strike, right?
Yeah, my wife, car. Not talking to let me buy another pack.
But there's somebody like, I don't want to like go through. And so I'm like, it's hard. Like, you know, I did my OC kicking on my. Basic training.
Oregon plays.
I just want to look.
Wow. How bad a thing. College football.
Oh, yeah. At White House Camp, it's $9.
As soon as they start playing, they absolutely lose it. Everybody's jumping up and down.
But
Yeah.
Oregon thing.
And we put in, those recount.
Yeah, I had season tickets for the past few years. Back in the.
So the imagery you can do on it. You can zoom in.
Saturday.
Well,
That's Virginia Tech.
And there's a delay. In.
The whole stadium. Yep, there's one. Yep.
Gonna hear the whole conversation. And I got that.
Yeah. Go. Hello?
Well, the one we did.
That's to do that.
I think the batteries are supposed to last.
Just depends on how much activity.
Yeah.
That's our.
Charging.
I've never seen a duck in my life. I've been to
Yeah,
that.
mine's sooner than that.
That's what I work with. What's that?
But on
I was at the game.
Double.
When Reggie Bush ran the punt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
they didn't call pass interference.
and I was at a couple of Civil War games at part of them. I won that lunch. I remember getting everyone.
When I was a teenager.
Well, that's when, like, you know what? It's so much there's.
You were. Reggie Bush. Is there? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the
Yeah,
one that they came in as a map, but I watched that one on TV.
yeah, and then they put things in there, like, when they were driving from amputation, that Bushman back in pocket. My boss was the receiver I was working with, and they didn't call it. Yeah. Portland, like, rain or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's very nice, you know.
yeah.
It's definitely one, the city. I don't think it's something new.
We live online?
I've got YouTube going, I'll do the recording. I don't think that's great.
As you comes up again. Excellent. Okay, everyone, let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. Stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, everyone, welcome to the October 2023 City Council session. We do have one counselor, Councilor Aldrich, who dialed it, so he is on the Zoom meeting there. Before we proceed with the regular agenda, we have 4 items on consent agenda. Councilors, do you have anything that you would like to remove for regular discussion? Just start with Councilor Aldrich first.
I have nothing, thank you.
Councilor Thomas.
I have not.
Councilor Steiner.
I don't.
Councilor Donald.
I do not.
Okay, then we'll keep consent agenda as is. With that, we're going to go ahead and move on to our very first agenda topic. And if I can ask for Ken and Linda Plazinski step forward. We're supposed to move forward? Step forward, yeah. Probably not. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay still, so I'll speak up. But what we have here is we do have the very first Volunteer Appreciation Award. We will call it the Plazinski Award, being granted to both Ken and Linda for your outstanding efforts in what you've done in and around the city. And we're going to have Sergeant Anderson in a second come on up. I do want to say a few words. For 6 years, a little over 6 years, I've been mayor. And these two have been absolutely amazing on what they do behind the scenes. Whether it is,
Don't do anything special.
oh, yes, you do. Oh, that is amazing. Whether it is going up to the park and clearing weeds out to plant new flowers or taking care of the memorial services and so forth there. It is a pleasure and an honor to have you.
It's a pleasure to do that. That way we can get rid of them flowers that I got in my yard.
So there you go. Trust me, they're always showing up in my yard all the time as well. Let me hand this off to you both real quick.
But we don't.
And
Congratulations, you guys. Appreciate everything you've done for the city.
We haven't done nothing.
Yeah, I was see you out there working.
we've all seen it. Smile for the camera, you guys.
Well, I'll have to tell you, this is an honor.
Yeah.
And we were not expecting this. We don't take appreciation real well, I guess. But
Just an old pull-off. I know what we're doing all the time.
it seems like the years have really went fast. You know, while we were working, it was not hard work. It was fun. We had some hard times and good times too, but we had a lot of help. People that's not even around Hubbard anymore. They moved on, and a lot of help. And we really appreciate being part of the community and hope to be here for a little while longer. And the city staff, everybody that has supported us, it just meant so much to us. And that's probably what kept us going too, because we were appreciated. And that's all we wanted. We don't like a lot of attention, as you can tell. So thank you very, very much, all of you. This is beautiful.
We didn't do anything special.
All right. Okay, with that, let's go ahead and move on to agenda topic number 3 is an ODOT presentation on the Donald Aurora interchange. Paul Welch, Senior Transportation Project Manager, and Ed Camberlin and David Evans and Associates. And I see we have some online. So is this all going to be virtual? Okay. So who wants to speak from ODOT?
That's me. That's Paul Welch. And do you guys have the presentation available or do we need to share on our end?
You'll need a screen share.
Okay, all right. Ed looks like he's got that there. So, well, again, thank you for inviting us here tonight to just give you an update on the I-5 Aurora Donald interchange project there at exit 278. As you said, my name is Paul Welch. I am the project manager for ODOT, and with me tonight presenting is Ed Chamberlain, the project manager for the design team for DEA. Next slide. Tonight we'll be talking about, we'll be giving you a funding update, our progress to date, the phase changes. Ed will be discussing detours, outreach to our external partners like this, and our next steps. So our funding update, for those that don't know, I'll give you a little bit of a kind of background on this. Is for the interchange, we had fully designed it and had didn't have enough money to completely construct the project. So we took a look at that and broke it into a couple of phases, which I'll explain a little bit more the different phases and what construction went in under there. But what we did was in phase 1A, that construction is complete. It came in under budget, which kind of helped us with that funding because, like I say, we broke this into parts that we didn't know exactly when phase 2 would be funded. We was it going to be a year from now, 5 years from now, or when exactly that would be funded. Well, through the IIJA, the design for the final design for phase 2 was funded through that, and also helped fund part of the construction. Part of this is also funded by the House Bill 2017, among other sources. Like I said, saving some money on phase 1A, and as of today, we're kind of here to say, hey, we're moving through with construction. The STIP amendment is completed at this time, actually, and the project is fully funded for construction. So, next slide. Our progress today, as I said, was phase 1A is the construction part of that is complete. Phase 2A, the design acceptance package is complete. That's just a fancy way of saying that our footprint for the project, we knew exactly what that was, has been completed, which allowed us to go out and acquire right-of-way. And the phase 2 part of our right-of-way acquisition is coming to a close, along with the permitting process, the IGA with Marion County, and the phase 2 final plans design is in their final plans, it's in the final stages of design there. So very close to the end for this project, or for beginning construction, but the end of design for this project. So next slide. So again, just to kind of recap, we had broken these two projects, or this project, into 2 phases. And phase 1A, we wanted to address what we could with the money that we had for the project. We wanted to address those immediate safety and operational programs. And as you know, from that intersection right there, there's a lot of traffic that is trying to move different directions and get to where they're going, all in a very short space. So part of the phase 1 was to start to get some separation so that the traffic could go on and off of I-5 and onto Ellen Road more efficiently and more safely. So one of the parts of phase 1 is to realign Bent's Road and construct a new intersection for that. We lengthened and widened the northbound off-ramp. We constructed the sound wall and the retaining walls by the RV park. And again, these were the immediate needs that we thought would help the most with the project with the budget that we had at that time. So next slide. Phase 2, what is going to happen during phase 2, this will be the completion of the diverging diamond up there. And we're anticipating that this, like I say, will take about 4 years of construction starting next year. We're hoping to have boots on the ground spring of 2024. And what we'll be doing during that time is we will be demoing the 2 existing bridges. We will be building a single span bridge over Ellen Road, creating the diverging diamond underneath that single span with the signals for that. We will take Ellen Road and move the signal to the north and just help that's going to help the alignment of Ellen Road on the west side over there, and connecting with Bent's and connecting back up with the older part of Ellen Road. We are going to lengthen and widen not only the southbound exit ramp, but also both entrance ramps. And again, in that interest of kind of moving traffic out away from the intersection and giving more sight distance, reaction time, and making it safer, Dolores Way will also be relocated to the west to accomplish that. Next slide. With that brings my part of the presentation to a close. I'll turn it over to Ed Chamberlain. He will be discussing kind of our construction and the detours for this project.
All right, thanks, Paul. Just a quick sound check. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Yep, great, thank you. So this project requires a lot of staging to achieve, to keep traffic moving during the construction period of 3 to 4 years. We developed our staging plans and our detours in coordination with Marion County. They've been involved really all along through the project development process. So that's been a good partnership. 3 main parts to our staging plans to highlight. The first one is the bridge demolition and stage construction of the bridge does require short-term Ellen Road closures right there at I-5. And so Ellen Road will be closed typically over a weekend. And I'll go over more on that in a minute. And then to reconstruct the interchange ramps, we are also proposing short-term closures. And we propose these 2 items really for worker safety, and it accelerates the construction, it reduces cost, it improves quality. And so it's kind of the short-term rip the Band-Aid off approach and get it done as best as possible and then restore traffic. So the third item is on I-5 itself, we will always have 3 lanes open during the day, but we have to move traffic around at night to change from one stage to another. So there'll be some traffic switchovers and some lane closures at night to set up those work zones. Okay. All right, here's one of the first ones to go over. This is when Ellen Road itself is closed for bridge demolition or other work. And for local traffic, we have a detour that uses 551 to the east, Arndt Road to the north, and then Bent's Road on the west side. So that's gonna keep local traffic moving from one side of the freeway to the other. For freeway traffic itself, we have what's called an on-system detour, where traffic would use the interchange following exit 278 to kind of do a U-turn on I-5 and then return to the other side. This is a detour route that would be used when we close the northbound entrance ramp. So if somebody wants to, if they are on Ellen Road in that area and they want to go north to Portland, that ramp would be closed for reconstruction, and they would use this route here, which is simply going east on Ellen Road and then north on 551, get back on the freeway at the Charbonneau interchange there. Again, we're keeping the trucks on I-5 using the on-system detour, kind of the U-turn detour that I just described. And this happens twice during construction. The northbound exit ramp has a similar kind of design, if you will. In this case, if you're coming north on I-5 and you want to take that exit to get to one of the truck stops or just northern Marion County, we would have signing in advance. Traffic would exit at Woodburn and go east on 214, north on 99 through Hubbard, and then up 551 to Ellen Road and back to where they were trying to go. This will be done once because largely the northbound exit ramp was reconstructed in phase 1A. We just need to kind of do the reconnection to the new Ellen Road. So it only has to happen once. So for the southbound exit ramp, which is one of the main reasons for this whole project, because that's where the traffic backup is and the high risk of accidents. When this happens, we have a southbound detour in advance of the interchange. So traffic would exit at that Charbonneau interchange, take 551 coming south, and then take Ellen Road to return back to, or to get to their destination there at the interchange. This would happen twice during construction. Trucks will be using the on-system detour just like the other ones. Just a few notes about this. We tried out a couple of these detours during phase 1A, and in general, they worked pretty well. And Marion County, and then the ODOT Mobility Advisory Committee, which kind of represents the freight community, they both supported that plan during phase 1 and during phase 2. We can answer questions here in just a second. This is just a list of our external partners that we've been updating this year. The first bullet there is the Mid-Willamette Valley Area Commission on Transportation. We've given briefings to the Marion County Board of Commissioners, the cities of Aurora and Donald, and yourself tonight, the French Prairie Forum, and then we're always open to update property owners as requested through the entire 4 or 5 year project. There's a website created for phase 2. I'll show some links here in a minute. And we also had an online open house go live this week that ODOT is putting up for kind of some fresh material on what phase 2 is going to look like. And we encourage you guys to go to that to check it out. And that'll be live throughout construction. So it'll be a good source for what's happening. Next steps for the team, bringing the right-of-way process to a closure. So we're completing those purchases of right-of-way takes from adjacent property owners. We're just about done with our design, probably about the next month, completing an intergovernmental agreement with Marion County, securing our environmental and land use permits for the project, continuing this outreach to external partners. We plan to go to bid in February of 2024 and then start construction in spring of 2024, as Paul noted. Here's some different websites that you can search on the internet. There's a website for phase 2, for phase 1A, and there's also a couple different video links that you'll find for what is a diverging diamond interchange. And just in short, it is a new style of interchange for Oregon. There is one in Oregon so far, in Southern Oregon, and this will be the first one in the Willamette Valley. It's an exceptional performer as far as interchanges go, and it's going to serve this area for decades to come. So we're real excited to be able to put this forward. It will take a little getting used to. It's probably 4 years away, so plenty of time to get ready for it. But you can learn about it in those videos. And just some contact information for Paul there. He's our point of contact during this design phase. And I guess, Paul, we can open it up for questions.
Yeah, and we can. And So, and then I'll speak a little bit more about the open house that went out after the questions here also. So is there any questions?
Sure. So Paul, Ed, this is Charles Ross, the mayor. I had the opportunity to listen in to your first presentation to the French Prairie Forum. I think it was last month or a little while ago. And I'm glad to see that you updated the detour plans. I remember back then there was a detour plan that would have had a lot of traffic coming down 214 and 99 It looks like traffic will pretty much be kept on I-5 unless individuals are trying to basically take one of those exits during a construction period, at which point they'll be rerouted just to be able to get back into an Ellen Road area. Is that a safe assumption what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's as you noted through there, as Ed kind of pointed out, and they're in the presentation there, that a lot of the exits, we're closing those for a short duration, as Ed referred to, as we're kind of ripping the Band-Aid off. So it's, we do realize that there's impacts to the area when the detours are in effect. There's impacts to the truck stops and the businesses around there. So we wanted to make sure that we like I say, for worker safety, that was number one priority also, but also it had that benefit of getting this work done very quick. So as you'll see at different times, but when those are different times during construction, but during those times, like I say, there's a 7-day period is most common, but there are a couple of 14-day periods, 2 weeks that the detours will be in, a detour may be in place for that, but they will be spread out, and that's what we did try to do. We tried to look at the local areas and realize that they are going to be impacted, and just try to make that as least inconvenient as we could. It's nobody's ever really happy with construction, but we tried to make the impacts as best we could to you guys for the shortest amount of time. So.
Okay, well, I can definitely tell the difference between the one that you did for French Prairie and this updated one here. So you guys have done a lot of work on it, and it looks much more manageable. I was a little worried about the amount of traffic that they might be coming down 99 East, but it looks like you guys have mitigated that quite a lot.
Yeah, and that's why I say we knew that was a point that we wanted to make sure to tackle. That obviously we have to, we've got to do something with the traffic, and so we have to have detours, but if we can make that as quick and as painless as we can for you guys, that was our goal.
And that's a fantastic project. It's a long overdue intersection that he's done. I'll have to research what this divided diamond intersection, EDI, what that's up.
EDI, yeah, Diverging Diamond.
Diverging Diamond, there you go. So I don't have any other questions on my side. I've had a lot of insight into this already. I'm going to go around the room though, and Councilor Yonley, do you have any questions? Concerns?
So in phase one, you're not actually tearing down the bridges across Ellen Road area just yet. That's going to be in phase two. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And maybe I'll let Ed kind of speak to that. He knows the schedule. Again, this is kind of our schedule and design. Obviously a contractor, once we get them onboarded, they will let us know our schedule, but it's probably going to somewhat follow what Ed and his team has put together. But Ed, if you want to kind of address the timelines of construction.
Yeah. So just to reiterate, phase 1A has already been constructed. It was constructed a year ago, and that work's been done, and it did not include the bridge on I-5. The bridge on I-5 is part of phase 2, which will start next year.
Okay, so and in doing this, the longest period we're going to have is you said a 14-day period of closure during the phase 2.
Correct.
Okay. That's my concern about, and you kept talking about the truck traffic, the semi-truck traffic that follows the same route, or is it just going to be going right up I-5?
Well, the truck traffic that's on I-5, the signing will take them to the interchange after the project, so they can do a U-turn and come back and cross the freeway that way during those closure times. So the intent is to keep the I-5 truck traffic on I-5, and to keep local traffic on local roads so that, we can kind of mitigate those impacts and keep the traffic on the streets where they're really coming from.
Yeah, because, my concern is all of a sudden we get all this I-5 traffic running up and down 99 and, we have enough accidents as it is. And if we start taking I-5 traffic and trying to run it up 99, it's gonna be a mess. So that's my biggest concern, so.
Yep, and it's just the exiting traffic or the entrance traffic, so it's not I-5 itself. We always want to have 3 lanes on I-5 open during the day. That was our commitment.
Okay.
So we really tried to work with the stakeholders that are impacted as much as we can, and try to get in and get out. We're trying these 1 week and 2 week ramp closures or a weekend closure on Ellen Road. Instead of, 2, 3, 4 months of lane closures, for example. So trying to do the get in and get out method.
Yeah, that's much better than what they've been, versus another state and another organization that they've been working on Tacoma I-5 forever.
And along Ed's, just to kind of add to that, that's, as Ed stated, we're the I-5 traffic will always stay on I-5, that it's just the exiting traffic because we're going to build sections of the bridge, prior, so that traffic has a place to, that's those crossovers that you saw in the presentation. And that's to keep the I-5, as you guys have, probably went down, as a bridge gets built, we kind of shift traffic over. We work on that bridge and then we shift traffic back and work on another side of it. So there'll always be lanes open on I-5. It is just the exiting traffic that'll be using detours. So yeah, you shouldn't see an influx of I-5 traffic from this project.
That sounds great. And that intersection, I actually personally avoided just because it's a dangerous intersection there. That's all.
Okay, Councilor Simon?
I don't have any questions. It was very clear. Thank you.
Councilor Aldridge?
I have no questions, but I do appreciate them updating us and keeping us in the loop. And this sounds like it's a very good for everybody. Thank you very much, guys.
Okay, perfect. So
Appreciate it.
Paul,
Thank
Ed, if we have any follow-up questions afterwards, I'm assuming we can filter those through City Administrator Wade. What would be the best way to get any additional follow-up to you?
Right there, that's Ed's got my contact information on the screen. So please reach out to me. Also through the if for some reason you lose where you write this down or jot it down, you can always go to the ODOT project website for this particular project. It has all my contact information and a direct link to my email. Again, there's Ask ODOT that will filter its way to me. That's another way of getting questions to us. So yeah, and like I say, then your recorder has my contact information as well as Ed's also. So.
Hey, wonderful. Well, thank you very much for coming in and informing us this evening.
Okay, one little thing on closing, we do have the online open house out there. It went live just a couple of days ago there, and we're actually, you'll probably see some mailers coming out that'll have the little QR codes for your phone to you can connect to the web to connect to the online open house. It really is. I'm real proud of that one. Our communications department did a great job. It has a slide that is pretty cool that slides before and after you, so you'll be able to see kind of, hey, what's it look like now, and you just slide your mouse back and forth, and you'll see the finished design and that design. It also there's videos, as Ed was saying, it will take a little bit of a learning curve. It's not bad once you kind of look at it. It looks a little more daunting than it really is. But there's 4 videos that have been placed in that online open house that we just walk you through. Hey, if you're getting off this exit and you want to go west, or you want to go back to the exit. So the communications department did a really good job of laying those out and just really simplifying how to work your way through the diverging diamond. So I encourage everybody to go and look at it. It also has a way of asking questions. If you have additional questions there, it comes directly to me. And I have sent it to To your staff there, they have the link to that, but I would please say, spread the word as much as you can, get as many eyes as we can on that online open house. And that also helps us with any other additional questions that we can answer for people. But I think it's really done a good job of being able to explain what you guys can kind of expect. And it even has the detours and stuff in there, so you can look at those again. So I think it does a nice job of laying out what you guys can expect in your area. So with that, I appreciate your time and have a great night.
Thank you very much.
So Mayor,
Go ahead.
Council, I have sent that link on to you for the open house, just in case you haven't seen it, it is in your inbox.
Yes, I actually did see it. It was screwed up on my phone though, on how it was showing up. So much better on the desktop. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, thank
Thanks,
you guys. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
You too.
Good night.
Okay, for our next agenda topic is the Marion County Economic Development Strategy Update. We have Kelly Weiss. Am I saying that last name correctly?
No, but that's all right, it's Kelly Weiss.
Weiss, there you go.
I always say, like Reese peanut butter.
Yeah, I'm hungry for reason.
I know, and it's that Halloween season and they're,
Yes, they are. So welcome.
well, thank you. All right, my name's Kelly Weiss, I'm the Economic Development Program Manager at Marion County, and today I'm going to be talking to you about our update to our strategic plan for our economic development program. You can go to the next slide. Our economic development program's goals are to support. Really bad. I'm like, go, go. I know ODOT went a little long. All right, our goals are really to support efforts that grow the economy, and that could mean efforts that increase employment, but it doesn't have to. It can also mean efforts that help promote the retaining of jobs. And it also means anything that improves standard of living. So that could mean things that are promoting community development, just improvements in infrastructure, things that help support quality of life in our communities. So you can go to the next slide. Our funding comes from video lottery proceeds. So 2.5% of net receipts from video lottery proceeds go to Oregon counties for economic development efforts. And Marion County's portion of that goes to our economic development program. In this current fiscal year, we have an estimated revenue from video lottery of 2.2 million. And we do our best to leverage those dollars with grants and other resources to be able to bring even more funding to our region. This year is an anomaly, so I almost hate to bring it up, but this year we have 19 million in grant funding for Marion County. I will say 99% of that is for the canyon for wildfire recovery, but it is, it's important that we work really hard to get those dollars. We go to the next slide. So this very colorful chart goes over some of our projects and programs that we've been working on as of late. We have 3 different categories of work that we do. The first is lottery distribution, which is basically getting those funds from the state and getting them out into our community as quickly and as easily as possible. The one that most of our communities know about is our Community Prosperity Initiative program, which is funding for our cities of $15,000 annually for whatever your economic development goals are. Then we have a new grant program called the Emergent Economic Opportunity Program that provides funding for projects that are needing just one more extra push to be able to be funded, kind of a gap funding solution. And then really most of our staff time gets spent on the other 2, business and workforce, infrastructure and economic investments. For business and workforce, we partner with a lot of other agencies. So we partner with SEDCOR for business retention and expansion. They have a BR&E manager. His name's Nick Harple. We help support his position. And then we partner with Willamette Workforce Partnership. We have a program with them called the Youth Wage Grant to provide $5 an hour of funding for businesses that hire youth in their first job. We also have a program with our chambers to provide them with some funding for economic development efforts. And then we had a recent grant with Salem Community Investment Fund, is what it's called. It was with United Way for senior housing in the Salem region. For infrastructure and economic investments, we have historically supported tourism through these efforts, including supporting Travel Salem and the Oregon Garden. And then really the last bits are mostly up in the canyon. We have supported the North Sandium Sewer Authority which is a government organization that the 4 communities up in the San Diego Canyon have created to provide infrastructure, sewer infrastructure. We have a project at the Detroit Lake called the Detroit Marinas Excavation Project, where we're excavating underneath the 2 marinas to allow them to operate at a lower lake level and extend their recreational season. And then a lot of our grant funding is the Opal Creek Promise funding. So back in 1996, when the Opal Creek Wilderness was created, the federal government promised the communities up in the canyon $15 million of revenue to offset the loss of revenue from timber. And those funds never came. Marion County has been fighting for those funds for 30 odd years. And just recently, we were able to get a grant through Business Oregon, through the Forest Service, for those dollars. So we should be seeing those dollars over the next 5 to 10 years get out into those communities for projects that they're looking to achieve for economic development. And then we've been supporting the communities of Detroit and Gates as they redevelop from the fires, doing some downtown planning and helping them do some zoning code updates to make sure that they redevelop in a way that makes sense for them. So if you can go to the next slide, I'll stop talking about what we're currently doing, because what I'm really here today for is to talk about what we'd like to see moving forward. So we're updating our strategy, which will be our plan for spending our dollars as well as our staff time over the next 5 years. We are coming to all of our communities. So we have 20 incorporated communities. So it's been a lot of evening meetings lately, but I'm super excited to meet everybody. And we're going to get feedback from all of our communities as well as other stakeholders on what you would like to see, what we're doing, how we can collaborate with what you're doing and make sure we're all kind of moving in the same direction. That'll be over through October, mostly into early November. Then we have, we'll take all that feedback and create a strategy, get that out to our communities for you to look at. Let me know if we hit the nail on the head or we missed entirely, or there's a piece that you really wanted to see that we didn't include. And that should be in mid-December, and then get it before our Board of Commissioners for consideration in January. Can you move to the next slide? Sorry. Oh, sorry. So I don't expect you to have all the answers here today, but if you do, I'm happy to jot them down. But we have a survey for local government. You're welcome to take that survey as individual city councilors, or you're welcome to discuss it and take it as a city. Either way works for me. I just want input. So we have a survey for local government, and then we also have a public survey as well. So anyone in the audience who's interested, you're welcome to fill out that survey and let us know how you would like to see these funds allocated. I have put some flyers on the table as I was walking in, so anybody's welcome to take one of those flyers and complete the survey. And with that, I'm just open to any questions, and thank you for your time.
So question for you, the 2.2 million is the average, right? That's normal, not the 19.
Not the 19,
Yeah, that's
no,
not-
that is an anomaly, but
And
yeah.
now, and does that spread out through all of Oregon then?
No, that is Marion
Just
County.
Marion County, okay.
Yeah.
So that would be spread between the 20 different municipalities. where-
20 different municipalities and capital projects, whatever that is an economic driver that we consider as part of our strategy. So all of our staff time and capital is decided by our Board of Commissioners.
Any highlighted projects you're hoping to see show up on that survey? Any specifics? I mean, in terms of like sidewalks versus wastewater versus like things that might be more specific towards economic.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep a really good open mind because I haven't had a chance to go out to our other communities and figure out what's important. But what I've been hearing is infrastructure, infrastructure, infrastructure. People really need funding, our communities, for their sewer, their water, they've got stormwater issues, whatever the case may be. So I can see coming out of this maybe a way to help support. I mean, $2 million is a lot. I'm not saying it's not, but it's not big capital investment on sewer projects or something dollars. So I could see us utilizing these funds to maybe do some feasibility studies or master plans to help these communities get to be shovel ready and get to be better access to grant dollars. So that's one way I can see, but truth is, I don't get to decide any of these things, but we can help put them together and get them before our Board of Commissioners. And then I really wanted to understand what would make more sense for our communities in terms of working together. I've been at Marion County for 2 years and I haven't had a chance to get out into the communities, and that's not a good thing. I'd like to figure out how we can talk more and so there's a better communication.
Have you ever gone to the, completely off topic,
Yeah.
the French Prairie has a great forum that George Leo typically runs. And he usually has Donald, Aurora, Wilsonville, can usually dial into that. It's a great opportunity. We sometimes have Marion County Commissioners dial in as well. Just for an option for you if you're looking to really kind of dial into at least the
that's
North
wonderful.
Willamette Valley.
You know, I think I might have attended one when I first started, but I was too clueless and I didn't know what I was listening to, so.
But you're right in the sense that as cities, we need to look at what all the cities are doing. In this case, the North Marion community.
Yeah,
Because we're more than probably we have Aurora, we have Donald, we have Butteville. Woodbury, when you look at it that way. I mean, there's a lot going on in this area.
yeah.
So this is great. So your ask for us today, though, is encourage individuals to participate in the public survey
Yes.
and to encourage individuals and or local government to participate in local government surveys.
Yeah. So you as city councilors, as individuals, can do the local government survey, or you're welcome to do it as a city. Either way works. And then anybody out in the public, you're welcome to do the public survey.
Excellent. This is probably something we can post on our city page if you probably already haven't. But I'm assuming we can also just promote it on the social media pages we have as well.
Yeah, that would make sense for you.
My questions, but Councilor Odrish, who's online, do you have any questions?
I do not. Thank you for the presentation.
Councilor Thomas? Councilor Stein? Councilor Young?
Yeah, this is economic development, so I mean, infrastructure is a big part of it, a lot of needs out there. But more business oriented type stuff like ways of drawing businesses into the city that we have some, couple of storefronts, some way to advertise, say, Hubbard has, so many square feet of open storefronts, we're looking for some retail or, or dining places, something like that. So that way we can maybe draw some more business. I mean, we've got great businesses in town, but right over here, there's a building that's, I think it's now for sale by owner, right there next to the old pharmacy, right next to the building pharmacy, building store. We got that. There's some, used to have a couple more in the 99. But yeah, so maybe we're going to go out and advertise, say we've got this business park over here. We've got some, great locations in Hubbard, things like that for businesses to come into town. So I think when I think of economics, I think about, generating foot traffic, car traffic, or whatever to purchase things. So, employ more people in town, more revenue for our local businesses, bring the businesses in. Part of what I was looking at here is, I can't remember which section it was in, but the Community Vision Action Plan, Invest in Economic Development Proposal type thing. When we're talking about food trails and that type of stuff, maybe partnering up with that, or we can do some sort of online map of Hubbard saying, this is a great place to come dine, this is a great place to come, we almost have for a short term, we have an antique store, that type of stuff for people to come in town and take a look at. So maybe draw more people in as well as businesses. So maybe something along those lines. So that's what I think of when I think of economic development. I think about, generating more businesses and more dollars in town to help out the city in general. So that's kind of where I'm thinking of when it comes to this type of stuff. My other takeaway, and this has nothing at all to do with economic development, is people spend over $100 million a year in video lottery.
Not for
I was running some numbers there.
Yeah.
I saw that. Well, that's all. That's a lot of. Yeah, but anyway, moving on. I'm glad it's coming to the area for economic development, which is really all 2.5%. Yeah. Comes out to over $100 million of total. So that's kind of my take. So some way to bring in more businesses and then to bring people into those businesses.
Yeah, thank you for your feedback. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Well, Ms. Weiss, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, got it. Okay. Thank you for coming in and spending time, and we will encourage individuals to participate best we can in the survey.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good
very
day.
much. Okay, with that, let's go ahead and move on to agenda topic number 5. That is to discuss the community vision and action plan for investment economic development proposal. And this one, I'll hand it over to Administrator Wait.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, councilors. So the community investment program, I talked to you quite a bit in June of 2023. Council meeting, at the council meeting, staff announced that we'd be applying for the Ford Foundation grant to fund work associated with the Community Action Economic Development Plan. The purpose of the project is to engage the Hubbard community to create a common vision for economic development to encourage vital, healthy, and sustainable community with a high quality of life. The project will include a 5-step process that will include community engagement such as surveys, town halls, interviews, and establishment of a steering committee. The work will provide staff and leadership a better understanding of the vision of the community and what they have visioned for the city and the development. It will also create goals and action items for staff to proceed to meet the expectations of the community. The project is estimated to take 6 months. The total project budget is $46,679, which includes $35,000 for consultant services, $950 for consultant mileage, survey subscription fees and on-site meals, and $10,729 for in-kind services, which equates to staff time for the duration of the project. The grant will cover the consultant costs all except for the $70 for meals. That is not an eligible reimbursement. And then the in-kind services from staff. So that would be the city's contribution. The initial $20,000 that I'm asking for permission to go ahead and enter into the acceptance for the Ford Foundation grant will be the upfront costs to cover the consultant costs. The remaining of the $35,000 will be covered upon completion. What the Ford Foundation has done, and I researched it with other cities that have had a Ford Foundation grant, is they don't commit all of the $35,000 because generally the project comes in lower than that. And we're already, after we're refining the scope a little bit more, we do think that it will come in quite a bit lower than that $35,000, but they have guaranteed that they will cover those dollars. So staff is requesting to enter into a contract with Marketech Inc. If council approves of what the proposal and scope is that I provided in the packet, and delegate authority to city administrator to finalize and execute the grant award documents with the Ford Foundation.
So question then, if we're looking at some of the eventual benefits coming out of this proposal, which is values and vision, goals and actions.
Yes.
Now, is that something you think then the city would be stepping back when we do our goal assessments, what we're going to do for the city and try to align it based off of the survey and the results that come out of this?
Correct. So one of the things that's also happened with this work is it's also helped informed our TAP grant applications, our technical assistance for our land use and UGB.
And you said if it kicks off at 6 months in duration, which means would it be done by June of next year? Or is it something that would start at the beginning of next year?
So we can start as soon as I get a contract signed, which I'm hoping I can do that within the next couple of weeks. And then we would start immediately.
So by April, which would be great timing for us then to reconvene on the city goals, objectives, and what we want to try to do. It's great that we actually got awarded the grant, by the way. That's Awesome. I don't have any additional questions. I'm just gonna go around robin and see what other counselors might have. We'll go, phone first, I guess, this time, since we went the other way last time. Counselor Aldrich?
No, I don't have any questions on it. I think it's a good thing. Thank you.
Okay, Counselor Thomas?
I have no question.
Counselor, Steininger?
I don't have any question. Thank you for working so hard to get the grant.
Counselor Young?
Only question I have is, so, the $70, is that we're just gonna pay for that out of the city budget? While the meals is uncovered. How are we gonna cover that? I mean, it's a small amount compared to the whole, dollar amount, but.
So mayor, councilors, I'm gonna cover that personally. I don't feel like, the city should spend money on, the meals are actually associated with any refreshments that would be served at the town hall or other steering committee meetings. So that is something that I'm happy to supply.
I think the city should be paying for that.
Are we reimbursed about?
Yes, water and refreshments.
So, okay, that's the only question I have. So the city would cover that
Yeah.
$70 unfunded portion of it.
Okay, so with that, we've got two motions that we need to make then to move forward, I'm assuming. So I'll kick off with the first one. I'll go ahead and make a motion for A, approve the Ford Family Foundation grant agreement and authorize city administrator Sean Waite to sign.
I will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Okay, that passes unanimously. I'll make another motion to authorize city administrator Sean White upon legal approval to execute a personnel service contract with Merit Tech Inc. I didn't see that. Yeah, okay.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. And that motion too carries unanimously. Excellent. Let's go ahead and move on unless there's anything else on that topic, city council. Okay, let's move on then. Discussion regarding driveway on Fifth Street, City Administrator Sean Lynn.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Council. I believe council has been debriefed on the background. Other cases, where similar situations have occurred and discussions with staff, that had with the property owner regarding the removal and replacement of the stamped concrete for the approach and right of way of the driveway that was poured in June that appeared. Staff met with the property owner on September 20th to discuss options for removal and replacement of the concrete, creating an approach and having brushed concrete poured in the right of way. It was agreed that staff would obtain a cost estimate and the property owner would obtain a cost estimate as well. Staff received an estimate totaling $12,412. Upon submission of this report, we had not received the property owner's contract estimate. We did receive that since I had to turn in the report. Their estimate was $24,000. Staff and the property owner were unable to reach an agreement about how to proceed. And the property owner stated that he would like to speak with council, and concluding that discussion, staff will move forward with however council directs staff.
And is the owner here? Yeah. Would you like to come up and speak?
Yeah. So, when I started planning about more.
Real quick, could you just, it's for the record, can you state your name and address?
Oh, yeah, Rodolfo Ariano, 3664 Fifth Street, Hubbard, Oregon.
Thank you.
So before I did the pour, I did my homework and I came to the city hall and I got the paperwork, and I went to Public Works and I got the paperwork. I put in my proposal to do my driveway. It all got accepted and written off on. They got signed on and they passed it through. And 15 hours before the pour, they actually came out and actually checked out my whole forms to okay my pour. During this whole process, at no point in time did they ever tell me, you know what, we don't agree with this, or or anything in that nature. And when I was doing my planning and talking to Public Works, I even offered to put the sidewalk in the easement at the time of my pour out of my pocket, and I was fine with it. I'm kind of irritated, and you guys would be too. I put a lot of money into that. And now at first, they told me I couldn't park in it because it was, they told me I couldn't park in it because it was considered front yard. Well, that's not my fault. That's their fault. Because neither Public Works and City Hall had anything written saying that they couldn't do it. They couldn't allow it. And then to me, it's like, okay, you guys approved it, but now I can't park in it. And after that happened, I continued to use my driveway. And then I got the cops called on me. But they approved it, but they're calling the cops on me. Now, they told me I can park in it. But now I have another issue that they're saying is that, oh, it's stamped concrete and now it might be too slippery and it might be a hazard. And now they want to cut it out and do an easement. Well, I put in 50 feet of stamped and painted concrete, which looks really nice, and everybody in town has been telling me how nice it looks and it's a great addition to town. And now they want to cut out 24 feet of those 50 feet. What's my driveway gonna look like? It ain't gonna look very nice. What happened to those $60,000 that I paid for to get it done? Just because they messed up. I offered to do it all at the beginning. And I think it's very unfair that I try to do something good in this community and rebuild Grandma Betty Hopkins' house instead of knocking it down and putting something new there. Trying to keep, Hubbard's persona alive, because my family's been here since '63. And I feel like I'm getting penalized for doing it. And it wasn't my fault. I did everything they asked. I'm looking to fence in my whole backyard, and I'm already talking to them, and I'm not planning on putting it in until next spring. Because I don't want to have issues with the city. I never wanted to have issues with the city. If anything, I wanted to make it better. And I feel like I'm getting singled out for it. And it's not my fault, it's their fault. I'm not saying it's your guys' fault either, because you guys had no hand in it. I mean, I have multiple projects that I wanted to do in town. I got another property I want to build on. I still want to better this property. But why do I want to invest in a town that's treating me the way they are? And, that's my family's money. That's taking money away from my family. You guys would be mad, just like I am. And I don't think it's fair that because of their mistake, at the end, my house is not gonna look the way I wanted it to, because now if they cut it out and they put brushed concrete there, it ain't gonna be what I visioned on what the house would look like. If anything, I'm gonna wanna cut out the whole section of stamped concrete and just do it all brushed. It'll look better than leaving 25 feet of stamped concrete and 25 feet of brushed concrete. But is the city gonna pay for that? I offered to do it from the beginning. And that's where we don't come into agreement. And I talked to the city administrator. I talked to Mike over at Public Works, and I'm here to defend what's mine. You know, I work hard for what I make and what I do to do what I do. For somebody's mistake, for it just to get thrown out the window, I think it's uncalled for.
Well, I do appreciate you taking the time to come and speak with us. I know I spoke with Mr. White, and I also said, yeah, you have the right, you need to come and be able to speak your case as well.
I mean, I did everything right. I got all the paperwork signed, I got receipts, I got everything.
Well, let us continue the discussion. And I do appreciate you coming forward and giving your side of the story for sure. Any questions that might be for the homeowner before we move on from council?
We've kind of established what happened.
So, now I do have a question about the map, the property lines itself. So, up to the property line, the property line doesn't go, did you pave all the way out to the edge of the property line, or did you come over the city right away, or
No, well,
drawn on here, so.
When I put in my proposal, because most of the houses on that street will have like their driveways 40 feet of gravel and then their driveway starts.
Mhm.
I asked for permission to pave all the way to the street, so it wouldn't look so bad. And they granted me that permission.
So that's for that 15.
Yeah, the
feet going back.
proposal, where it says proposal, that's all new concrete, and then the existing, that was just redone.
And so the going back 15 feet, is that where the city right of way is?
Now, actually, they're telling me it's 30 feet from the center line, so they want to cut out 24. It's gonna, 24 feet is just before a stress cut in my concrete, so we would actually have to cut out like 28 inches past the stress cut.
Okay, so.
I mean, 24 feet and 8 inches, you know, so because if not, they cut my cement there, and then I'd have a stress cut about 6 to 8 inches in.
And so that's goes back quite a ways then.
Yeah.
I didn't
That's
realize-
my job.
So that's the city right. of way.
Yeah.
You're paying, okay, so that's right.
And that's where the concern is coming in, where we needed the aid from.
Yeah, so. um,
So back to Administrator White then, we have then the option to go through the 4 different options you've outlined there.
Yes, correct. So, I did identify options in my memo.
So out of curiosity, we have the options removal of 15 feet of existing stamped concrete. Is it 15 or is it 24?
No, they came out and measured it and it ended up being 24.
24?
No, there's two different levels. One's 19 and one's 15, and we believe that the 15-foot mark will do what we need to do with the brush concrete.
Okay, so that cuts out at least 10 feet of the concern. Okay. So it's 15, and that would be then center line of 5th Street, 30 feet over then. Is that how that's being gauged?
Yeah, roughly. With the old properties, because the streets were not put in center line of the 60-foot right of way that 5th Street is, we'd have to find a property marker to actually know where the property lines are. It looks to me like on the west side of the road, there's about a 4-foot grace period from where the sidewalk is to where the property line starts.
Okay. So concern to me on this one right off the bat is we don't even know where the center is. And my concern here is, though I think we still need to move forward and remove and put a proper apron in. 24, 15, 15 or 19, the city's responsibility, we need to know where that center line is. What do we have to do to figure out where that center line is?
Calling surveyors.
Administrator Wade, can we ask for postponement on action until we can figure out exactly where the center line on 5th Street is?
Yes.
I want to make sure that our ducks are in a row, and we know what we're talking about, and I don't want to have a property owner be told it's 15 feet now, to be told later it's 19 feet. Or be told it's 15 feet now, but it should be 24 feet. I want to make sure that we are talking all the same math.
Well, when they went out there the first, when we talked the first time, it was 15 feet. And then when they came out and measured and feet in my grass, it was actually 24 feet on the second one.
So our ask then to our administration is to identify center line first.
Yeah.
Then we will re-engage with you to be able to have the discussion exactly what type of feet we're talking about here. My fear is I don't want an assumption on where center line is. And it's not your fault, it's not our fault, it's not current staff's fault if we don't know where the center line of the street is. But as a city, we should know where the center line is. So my ask then to at least city staff is Public Works, let's figure out where that center line is, so we know exactly what we're working on. Is there any disagreement amongst council to moving that forward?
We don't know.
Councilor Rogers, you're on phone. I want to make sure that we're not missing your input.
No, I totally agree with you, Mayor. And again, it's all about the safety of this whole thing. It has nothing to do with anything else but the safety of the citizens.
And we're not trying to be punitive at all to the homeowner. What we are concerned about though is future liability if someone does slip on the stamped concrete. That's why we're in that discussion. So if you will work with us, let us figure out where the center part is of that road, so we can give you an accurate ask, so we can then go back and forth and try to work with you on a solution. That be acceptable for now?
Yep.
Thank you very much. And I do appreciate your time coming in here and speaking with us. All right,
Definitely, thank you again. Definitely hear your concern. If I was you, I'd be very frustrated too.
Mr. Mayor. Right, go from this subject, I can wait till later until the public input, but I'd like Mr. Ayala to have some of my input as a neighbor. Not appropriate with your discussion.
Since it is in the discussion, we haven't moved on it yet. You are the neighbor across the street. If you can keep it very short and brief, this is important as a community.
I'm Matt Kennedy at 3635 Chester Street. I've been a neighbor to this property for 25 years. And I understand Mr. Ariano's frustration. I totally do. He's done a lot of nice stuff to fix up that house. And when this started going on, I didn't see him out there. I went over and ended up talking to his contractors. I'm like, man, you better check this out because you can't park in front yard and some different things like that. And then I hear different explanation of what's going on. So I understand his frustration. He did what he thought he needed to do. I'm also frustrated. And what Mr. Ariano might not know, every time I do something, including building my new garage, I gotta spend a couple grand to come ask the city if I can put a garage where an old garage was, and I did. And Lance Courtney on the corner across from Mr. Ariano last year had to come to put a roof on his existing garage, we determined was at least 8 years old, pay a couple $1,000 to come go through the process of planning and whatnot. And I'm not, that seems heavy-handed at times, but when you can't fit something in the box and in the code, that's when you have to ask for variances. And I've done it because I've done a lot of stuff around here. And so I understand his frustration. I think if that would have been gone through a process, some of this would have been discovered. Because quite frankly, I don't know what a driveway is. In fact, it looks like a parking lot to me. It doesn't look like a driveway. And right now, I know the city's actively enforcing against people parking in their front yards because I got some of them paying me to park in my parking lot down because the city's telling you can't park in your front yards. So if you put concrete down, is it all of a sudden now it's not a front yard anymore? You can put whatever surface you want, but I'm concerned about the surface compared to the use. And so I totally understand his frustration. I wish I could have hooked up with him before the job and seen him out there. And, I was also on his council planning commission when the two houses were built next door. And at that time, they didn't need to have sidewalks. And so the parking all along those three houses has become, somewhat, it's a little dense and it looks a little bit more industrial or commercial, than R1 zoning. So I support those other lots next door are substandard size. I support them being built on, they create some lot or pre-platted lots. But the outcome of this, the end product, seems unfortunate. And I too feel bent, and some other people should feel bent. They're getting kicked off of their lots. And, so I hope, and I think the city needs to do a better job of figuring this code out and treat Mr. Ariano the same they treat me and Lance, or when they made Greg Wing take out his perfectly good driveway on J Street, to put in a perfectly good other driveway apron to match code. So this was all over the board, and a lot of us have spent a lot of damn money making these corrections that have to come, for some pretty basic things. So I spent a couple grand applications, don't talk to the planning commission. So I hope this serves as a case study to not let this happen again. And I would also ask you this, what is a driveway? So you know, because if all these people, if they say, well, I'm gonna kick off the park in my yard, I put down concrete, now I can park on it, you still have the same outcome, you have how cars park in front of the house, so please look at that, so this doesn't happen in the future.
Agree.
Thank you.
Okay, before we move on, city staff, any additional comments for now? Okay, very clear what we're looking for? Okay, thank you. Let's move on to appearance of interested citizens. So there you go, Mr. Kennedy, you would have been right up next in.
Rocky Shore, 260 Union Place. Howard, Oregon. Things are going good. Thank you, council, last month for approving our event. We were able to get a picture of the parts. I was able to draw a proper map. So thank you for that, and thanks for meeting with me, late. And, cause I like to apologize to the community of Hubbard for last month. I was going through some little dark times with my medication, and I lost a brother. And I had his funeral, so it was really horrible month for me, but I got my medication dialed in. And so moving forward, I think I'm in a good place right now. So I apologize to all that was a piece to that stuff. No heart. I love everybody in this community. I love all our leaders. I do know that mental health is real, and I apologize by my heart to all that are affected. So another thing is, now that he brought, we got the Harvest Festival this Saturday from 2 to 9. We got salsa dancers performing 6 and 7 o'clock at Barnsley Park with the band. So I'm excited about that. Hay rides 5 to 7. Until maybe possibly a little later, we'll play it out with darkness and the lighting situation, but we want to keep everybody ultimately safe. Kickball games at 3 o'clock, weather permitting, and how the grass is, and if it's too wet, we'll just come up with another solution for that. I also have a question, Mr. Mayor, about the concrete, because we know like the homes when they built this, you know, like husband and wife and sons, you know, it takes a lot of vehicle space, right? So if we were to put concrete in our front yard, over our front yard, could we use that as a parking structure? Because I know that we're running out of places to park. Is that legal as long as we get the city involved, or how does that work?
Short answer is no.
No?
In fact, we're updating our building codes to adopt what Marion County has in terms of what we are expecting driveways to appear as, what the definition of a driveway is, and how they go in. For the exact reason that Matt Kennedy brought up, right? The idea is the code by essence was that you shouldn't be parking in the front yard. Problem is when you have a 100-foot lot, you can say you have 75-foot driveway and you're still not parking in technically the middle of the yard. So the city has been going through and adopting Marion County standards for driveways.
Yeah.
We want to prevent any confusion in the future or any other misunderstanding.
I also like to hear the gentleman, their family's been here since the 60s, and Matt's family's been here a long time. And I'd like to keep all these guys happy in here, you know, because they've been here for multiple years. So hopefully they're able to come up with a resolution with the city on that. Anybody have any questions about the event? We're gonna have tow behind generator, we're gonna have light stands, everybody's gonna be safe, we're gonna have good display. I think the city will be impressed.
Well, I hope well for your Harvest Festival.
Thank you. And an after party at Hubbard Inn after the festival. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizens like to come forward and speak? We are friendly, trust me. Sometimes make a joke. Sometimes. All right, we'll move on. Let's move on to mayor and or council presentations. The only thing I've got is one update is I did have an opportunity to speak with Commissioner Bethel. She is our Marion County Commissioner. I got to meet with her for an hour today. My biggest takeaway, we did talk about the ODOT transportation plan that they're planning to do. My concern on the detours, which I'm actually glad to get mitigated since back speech, so not worried about that. The other one was I'm happy to hear that there's a renewed effort from the Marion County Commissioners on mental health and mental health access. So it's about time our state is finally starting to realize that. Other than that, normal community appearances, OSU, Ag celebration a couple of weeks ago. Got to attend that with Administrator Wade as well. See all the great things that OSU is doing up here in our own community. That's all I pretty much got, at least from now. Counselors, any presentation or updates that you want us to give? We'll start with Counselor Young. I do not. Counselor Stein? You know, I'm getting your name better. I'm not doing every enunciate. Counselor Thomas? Counselor Rogers?
The only update I have is Love Santa has been starting their efforts for the holiday season this year. I have an article for the newsletter coming to the City Hall soon. The only difference is Love Santa is working with Bricks from North Marion this year to not duplicate any efforts and to streamline the process.
Wonderful. I can't
Thank
believe
you.
we're already up upon the holiday season, quite honestly. It's shocking. Okay, do you have any questions, what we've set up here from city administration? If not, we'll move right on along the line, so we don't stay here until midnight. To city administrator report out. We'll start with Administrator Wade.
Okay, so I'll start with my report. I will be bringing the proposed financial policy documents to the November council meeting for consideration. I have included in your packet just a high level burn rate report to give just kind of some high level information about where we are at financially. Please note at this time, expenditures and revenues are not in line. We normally don't see most of our revenues until the second quarter, especially when property tax comes in. So that's where you're seeing some disparity against the spend versus revenue, but overall, we're looking okay.
Okay, so question for you real quick. When you define burn rate, and the 25% of burn rate, is that going through the budget? How do you define burn rate? I want to make sure I'm using the same.
So the burn rate, we're 25% through the fiscal year. And so then I compare what we have budgeted and what percent we have burned through that
Okay.
budgeted amount.
So are we somewhat on track at a burn rate of 25% and a quarter of the way through then? Or
So, overall, our revenues, like I said, are a little low. But again, second quarter, that's when our revenues really start coming in. Expenditures were tracking lower than the 25%. Again, we have some vacancy savings from the officer positions. And then some of our big expenditure items that will be hitting with our water project and so forth haven't hit yet.
so if I look at your report, it's actually excellent. I can see it. The burn rate expectations 25%, and we have the associated percentages below.
Correct.
Park improvement, 0 burn rate. Keep my mouth shut. I know we got lots of things we do in the parks.
Okay, right. Absolutely. Okay, so I'll move on if there's no other questions from council. The North Marion Tourism Collaborative shuttle for the October Fest was a success. There were over 1,000 rides. And this was funded through a Travel Oregon grant. We are going to apply for the same grant next year. And we're going to make some modifications to the shuttle routes and the number of stops, but overall it was very successful. So we're excited to offer that. Attached to my report is the North Marion Tourism Collaborative Strategic Plan. I've been talking about that for the last few months. It's finally completed. The plan includes the mission and vision of the collaborative, as well as it's setting 9 goals to achieve over the next 3 years. The county, Marion County, has provided funding for a position that will assist with some of the administrative tasks of this collaborative, and we'll be working to fill that position soon. Just as a reminder, there are 9 cities that are participating in this collaborative at this time. It's Aurora, Brooks, Donald, Jervis, Hubbard, Mount Angel, Silverton, St. Paul, and Woodburn. This work that the collaborative has done actually helps support the grant application for the Ford Foundation. And again, the technical assistance grant for the buildable land inventory and economic opportunities analysis for the city. And then the North Marion Business Service Providers is putting on a resource fair the morning of October 17th and the evening of October 19th. It will be held at the Woodburn and Brook Chemeketa locations. The intent is to help individuals learn how to start and grow a business. Information has been posted on the city's website as well as our Facebook page. And I will be attending the October 19th session. I will not be able to attend the October 17th session, as we will have, we'll be in first round interviews for the police chief position. I will be attending the League of Oregon Cities Conference in Eugene. I will leave late tomorrow afternoon. And it runs through Saturday the 14th, so I'll be back the night of the 14th. And then wanted to touch base with council in regards to a proposal that staff has. So we are getting ready to put out an RFP for refurbishing the tennis courts at Barnsley Park. We would like to turn one of the tennis courts into a dual purpose tennis court / pickleball court. So I wanted to seek council approval for staff to engage the community to see if they're interested in doing that dual purpose for that one court. There are some concerns that pickleball can be more noisy than tennis. So we want to engage the community that lives around there to see if they're interested or not.
I've definitely been noodling on this since you brought it up earlier this week or last week. And when I was walking around Barnes the other evening, that dawned on me. There's a lot of neighbors really close there. I've never played pickleball. It's got a local ball, that's all I know. So, and I know there's been lots of noise complaints, like Oswego and some other communities have done it. And I don't know if it's because people get rowdy playing it, who knows? Or if it's really just a loud game. Is it loud? Okay, so it's good. I mean, I would encourage this, it'd be great, but please, yes, let's reach out to the neighbors around that area and see if they have concerns. I mean, any amenity that we can bring into the city would be nice. Pickleball seems to be really popular. I mean, any disagreement with council?
I went over to Malala and played on their new pickleball courts, and I thought it was really fun. The first time I even experienced the game. I don't think I've ever seen anybody play tennis here. I mean,
There's trees growing through the.
is that what it is? Okay, I don't, I've never played tennis either, so.
I've tried to play tennis. You hit a ball in it. It was a swear that it needs to be resurfaced.
The pickleball is fun, so I would at least like to look into it. I think that would be good.
The only other question, and John, do you have any concerns?
I have, you addressed my concern.
Okay. And Councilor Otters, before I move on, any concerns from you?
I would only ask why only one court and not both courts be dual purpose.
We could look into doing both courts and having the dual purpose. One of the things that I have found is that the more pickleball courts you have, the louder it gets. So I thought, well, maybe we'll start with one, and if that turns out to be successful, we can do the second one. But I'm happy to look into doing both courts as dual purpose.
It's not just striking, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just striking.
Question for you, though, on the refurbishment. I know we could probably go on more when we talk about superintendent's update, but are we also going to be looking at fixing the lights? Because there's 4 light poles going around there currently. I have no clue if those work or if they're just antique relics that are sitting there waiting to bend over and break.
They actually do work.
They can work.
Wow.
The switch actually needs to be fixed.
Okay, so there could be a timer switch replaced and the lights could work. Okay, is the refurbishment going to look at refurbishing those lights, possibly updating to LED as well? And
I don't know if it includes that.
I don't believe it does, but it's something that we can, put
it'd be
in.
significant savings over an LED or the old. Yeah, especially those are very expensive to turn on and run, only because other people who shops that have these lights, very expensive. Just a question if we can expand it to make sure that we try to refurbish it and make it so the lights are energy efficient. Maybe we can get a grant.
Yeah, I can look into a retrofit grant for energy savings, but there's a lot out there.
Wonderful. Anything else, Mr. Witt, before we move on?
No.
Any questions for Administrator Witt from council? No questions here, no questions, Margaret? No. Okay, then we'll just keep moving along. We'll move on to, where's my agenda? Next one would be Police Department with Chief Rash.
Good evening. First thing I'd like to point out is, one of our dispatchers, Tiffany Beck from MECCOM was, honored by Oregon APCO, which is I forget what APCO is, but it's for the telecommunicators, like the Chiefs Association and the Police Officers Association, as a telecommunicator or dispatcher of the year, for 2023. So I went to the banquet and in Bend to, see her get her award. A couple things that stood out is it seems like she's the one who always steps up. They're very short-handed in dispatch, just like any other law enforcement. She worked over 1,000 hours of overtime this year. So, but more importantly, she's the one who's like the mother hen in there and make sure everybody gets recognized on their birthday by birthday cards. Kind of well, I get hit up by her all the time. You need to sign this birthday card, but apparently she asks random people, like when she's at Flat Pantry or whatever. So there's all kinds of people who sign these birthday cards. So that's kind of fun. But out of all the dispatchers in the state of Oregon, Tiffany was dispatcher of the year. So I just want to make sure you knew that we do have very good dispatchers in MECCOM. Other than that, we did testing on Saturday. We have for police officer position, and we have 2 moving to interviews on Monday. So hopefully we get a good candidate out of there and can get them in the January candidate academy with the other applicant that we're still working on. So
So it looks like we're actually in good progress to backfill all the positions pretty quickly.
knock on wood, yes. And like I think I pointed out, I was hoping to get the one kid into December, but that filled up. And so January 29th is the next open academy. So we're working to get those 2 in the same academy. And Tim, our officer Hart goes November 13th.
And we have had communications with our neighbor up north on poaching officers that we don't like that.
I watched the Dodger game with them last night, and yeah, it's Blackheart these days. They say they're sorry, but they're not.
Sorry, whether that's.
But they say they're all 3 doing well. So,
Good.
yeah. Oh, and then we worked the homecoming game, and good friend of mine in law enforcement, is the Warrington chief, and now I owe him lunch. He's with me lost.
By the way, my appreciation to us, we had an excellent showing of police officers there. Marion County was there as well. So it's good to see that we have a strong security presence, especially at high school football games. And we did lose one.
Yeah, it was close for half.
The beginning.
Yeah.
First quarter.
So the last project, well, not at least other than the water with the ARPA funds, was the security cameras. We now have security cameras around the public safety for the city hall.
Does it include the entry by chance?
Yes,
Because I didn't even notice them, which means they learned stuff.
yeah, so I can watch it on my phone.
Uh,
Anyway, that project is complete, so. And then, do you have any questions?
Questions from council? We'll start with Councilor Aldridge.
I have no questions. Thank you very much.
Thomas?
No questions, thanks.
Councilor Steiner?
I'm just really glad we got the cameras. You know, when I did the ride along with the guys when I first moved here, that was the first thing I noticed. So I'm really glad we have that.
Councilor Scott? I don't know, thank you. No, I'm just very excited. My only comment is that we have good candidates coming in. I thought we were worried that we might not be able to qualify candidates or quality candidates. So, thank you, Chief. There's no other questions. We'll move on to the next agenda topic, which will be Administration Department, and Director Noble.
I don't have anything to add to my report. I just want to bring your attention that we are moving forward with the comprehensive plan update. We have submitted the grant application for the technical assistance grant. So that is still in the works. And if you guys have any questions about my report.
Nope, glad to see we have a planning commission meeting this month. And I will apologize to Julie. I'll probably be right on the deadline this time because I didn't realize we already was time for the newsletter update. Questions for Director Noble? Starting over with Young. Nothing right now. Councilor Steiner?
I'm just curious what the difference is in the 2 pages on the building permits, why if there's one on one and then.
So I was asked a while ago to keep the council informed of the building permits throughout the year. So I've gone on to the next page, and these are all permanent records.
Okay,
So I'm on the next page now.
so that just means we're on a new page.
What's that?
That just means we're on a new page.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yes, and once it goes to 2024 or whatever, then you won't see the second page, unless we have a ton of building permits.
Thank you.
Councilor Thomas? No question. Councilor Aldrich?
Nope, I'm just really happy to see us working towards so many grants and, working through this to help the city out like that. Thank you.
Agreed. The only thing I might add, Director Mogul, is for the city council goal setting. If we move forward with division planning, economic development, very long title, I would suggest let's move the city goal setting until after we get that report back, which would be, I'm assuming, April at the earliest. All right, let's move on to Public Works Department with Superintendent Krebs.
Good evening, counselors. Just let you know that the pump and digester #1 is working like a champ. We're not having any problems with it. The only thing that I could say against it, it's a little louder than I expected it to be, but not ever working with this type of pump before. I'm just thinking at this point, it's just a natural noise occurrence.
Question for you on that one. When I walked by the wastewater plant last evening, there was like a bubbling sound coming from it, not just the normal engine whine. Is that expected, or is that from the digester?
It's, what normally happens there is that we put air into it, so it mixes it up and it gives the bacteria in the goop something to
do its biological work.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I assumed that you were either injecting air into it or it was super hot. Either way, I didn't want to go mess with it.
Well, what the deal is with that is we've been using digester #2 for so long, it's so thick that it needs to be worked a little bit to be able to not look like a mud pot. So that's what you got, is just basically really thick sludge that's being worked down at this point.
Quite the interesting sound to hear. That's
Yeah.
for sure. Okay, I don't need to rattle us on that.
Well, that's fine. The only thing I don't have on my report is that we're doing a little bit of maintenance on the polishing clarifier, the flights, the scraper arms and scrape the bottom broke on us, and so we're having to do a little bit of maintenance on that. Hopefully by the end of the week, we'll have that system back up and running. And go to #5, we did not catch a skunk, we did catch a possum.
Will the skunk still residing underneath there?
I was talking to Administrator Wade about this, this morning, and my philosophy is that skunk went in, skunk was gonna make a home, possum went in after it, possum scared skunk, skunk sprayed possum, skunk ran out from under the building and scared possum, so possum didn't come out for at least a week. But I couldn't find any place else that they could have got underneath the building at that point, so I figured they just sort of right
Road
road.
free
Yeah,
now, somewhat.
yes.
The chief's investigating.
Yeah.
Gotta stay on top of that. Before we move on to the rest, general question, maybe for you, my Superintendent Krebs, or even Administrator Wade, kind of use your title still. Could we maybe line up in the near future a review of where we are with the waste treatment plans, step, water, pressure, effort, et cetera, just kind of outlay timetables where we're at and how those are looking? Both on the wastewater treatment plant upgrades that we've been talking about, as well as the pumping and the static water pressure upgrades.
Yeah, I think that's something that we could accomplish for you.
Okay. Maybe when we have a slower council session here at the beginning of the year, it'd be good just to keep us informed on what's going on, and also allow the public to have a chance to come in and listen as well. Glad to see the sidewalk improvement program continue to move forward. I know we're out of the building season, so hopefully next year when we jump in, as you said, you're giving effective early notice for those that need to work on it, so they have a chance to look at it, plan, come down and talk to the city as well. I mean, my hope would be next year we can exhaust the fund that we put aside for that. That way we know that we've put as much as we can out into the community. Happy to see leaf disposal coming back, which was here this week. So many leaves fall off my tree, it's ridiculous. Beyond that, I don't have any other questions. We'll walk around the room though. Councilor Youngly, any questions for Public Works?
Oh, so, with that pump and digester one, when was it, completed that project? Just I'm curious.
That was completed, about the middle of September.
Okay, and, that's about all I have for now.
Okay, Councilor Stanger,
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Councilor Thomas,
No questions.
Councilor Rogers.
I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Other city agencies, and that would be Hubbard Fire District. I do see Chief Carmen online.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and council members, for giving me this opportunity to share with you what's been going on in the district the last month or so. In September, we had 102 calls for service. That's about a 13% increase from September of 2022. We had 26 members staffing those calls. And we have about 3 or so, maybe 4, depending on background, new members that will be starting this month in October. The board of directors did appoint Paula Smith to become a board director and fill a vacancy. So if you see her around town, tell her congratulations and thank her for her service. We did fill the boot on September 16th. We raised $6,400. I haven't got the exact count back yet, but we consider that a huge success for being such a small agency and having a small area that we cover. So kudos to our guys for doing well there. A few things we have coming up later this month. We have Paint the Pumpkin. That's going to be October 21st. In addition to letting the kids and come down and paint pumpkins, we're going to give them some trick-or-treating safety. It's Be Safe or Be Seen is kind of our theme this year. And then we'll have an open house on Monday, October 30th. That'll be from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then early in November, we have a promotional process where we will take our volunteer members and give them the opportunity to promote into becoming lieutenants, and then lieutenants can have the chance to promote to become battalion chiefs. So just young group of volunteers and raising that leadership up, and we've given them the training they need. Now they just need to test for it and show that they're ready for that next step in their careers. Did you guys have any questions for me?
From the mayor's side, no questions. I'm very happy to hear how you're taking care of your staff, especially with career development. That is awesome. I can't believe you raised as much as you did on Fill the Boot. That's a lot of cash going into those boots.
Yeah,
thank
it
you
is.
for your continued engagement with the city, residents, I should say, with the Paint the Pumpkin, your outreach programs, and I'm just blown away with a 13% increase from year over year on September calls. That's huge. No questions though for me. We'll go around the room real quick for other councilors. So Councilor Rogers, any questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Councilor Thomas? Councilor Steiner?
I don't have any questions.
Councilor Gollman?
I have none, thank you.
Okay, Chief Carmen, thank you very much for, again, continuing to dial in and participate in our monthly council session and giving us updates on the fire district.
Thank you guys for the opportunity.
All right, with that, let's go ahead and move on to the consent agenda. I will go ahead and read the titles of it and hopefully we'll get it approved unanimously. So for consent agenda, we have approval of the September 12th, 2023 City Council meeting minutes, sorry. B, approval of the September 2023 check register report. C, resolution 768-2023, a resolution amending resolution 748-2023, City of Hubbard policies for the City of Hubbard, adding section 7.03.04 lead worker pay, not lead. And then D, authorize city administrator Sean White upon legal approval to negotiate and sign the T-Mobile First Amendment to the tower lease with options.
Motion to approve consent agenda as read. I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, consent agenda carries unanimously. With that, agenda topic, any other city business for discussion? If not, the usually last agenda topic that has the quickest motion and second would be adjournment.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed say nay. No member says nay. Okay, council session is adjourned. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Councilor Rodriguez. Have a safe flight home.
So you guys coming out with that one there?
Thanks.
Yeah, maybe something wrong. Yeah, it'll be fun. That's Dr. Ray, we did. And talk connected on 6 and 7 on 1 and 5.